Sometimes the greatest burden we carry is not what happens to us, but what we insist on holding on to. Attachment to things we cannot change drains our energy, steals our peace, and makes us believe we'll only find rest when we control every detail. But is this constant struggle truly necessary? What if the answer lies in letting go, trusting and allowing something greater to handle what we cannot reach? Imagine living a life where anxiety gives way to calm, where uncertainty doesn't paralyze but transforms into trust. This happens when we discover that true strength isn't in gripping tightly, but in opening our hands and letting God guide what we cannot resolve alone. In that space, faith manifests, not as a theory but as a daily practice, where the chosen one is reminded they are not alone. Today you will see your challenges from a new perspective. You'll learn that the most difficult situations are not signs of defeat, but opportunities to experience divine care that works in the unseen. Transformation happens when you understand that letting go isn't losing, it's gaining lightness, wisdom, and direction. It's striking how our minds seek shortcuts, wanting to quickly fix what seems out of place. Who hasn't tried to uproot a problem, only to realize later that it made things worse? True faith, however, is patient and understands that not everything needs to be fixed now. Trusting in God means recognizing that He sees beyond what our eyes can perceive and that every detail has its appointed time to flourish. The weeds of life appear at work, in relationships, or even at home. Perhaps it's a difficult colleague, a complicated relative, or a financial situation that never seems to resolve. And yet, the call is to remain at peace. Instead of expending energy fighting, the person who trusts rests, praying and believing that God knows how to separate what serves from what doesn't. This rest isn't passivity, it's an act of faith. In practice, trusting might mean staying silent when you want to argue, or waiting when haste demands quick solutions. It's the couple who learns not to argue over every detail, but unites in prayer. It's the young person who, instead of responding to provocations, chooses silence to preserve their peace. These are small daily choices that show the battle is not in our hands, but in His. And the most beautiful thing is that as this trust is cultivated, life becomes lighter. People notice that those who rest in God are not at the mercy of circumstances. Calm becomes a testimony, and faith inspires others to follow the same path. It's in this environment of trust that miracles happen, opening space to see grand examples from the past that still echo today. Few moments in biblical history are as impactful as when the Israelites were trapped before the sea. Behind them, Pharaoh's army. Ahead, impassable waters. Any human would have run in despair, trying to devise 1,000 escape plans. But Moses raised his voice and said, "Stand firm, the Lord will fight for you." What a powerful contrast to our tendency to act without thinking. This scene teaches us something timeless. When there's no visible way out, God creates an impossible path. How many times have you found yourself without options, believing it was the end? In those moments, instead of despair, the answer may be confident silence. Just as the sea parted, unexpected doors can open in your life, a new job opportunity, an unlikely reconciliation, a healing beyond logic. And notice this: the sea didn't part until the people reached the water's edge. The miracle happened at the limit, when no other option remained. This shows that faith often requires waiting until the last moment without giving up. It's not comfortable, but it's at that point we learn to fully depend on divine care. The chosen one discovers that faith is tested precisely in the tightest moments. What seemed impossible became a passage, and what was a threat turned into victory. This story isn't in Scripture just to inspire, but to remind us that God still parts seas today. It's proof that we don't need to fight alone or exhaust ourselves trying to control everything. If He acted back then, He can act again in any area of our lives, and the journey continues, revealing new lessons. Some battles aren't worth the energy we spend. When someone constantly tries to prove their worth, respond to criticism, or justify every action, they end up exhausted in wars that yield no victory. It's like trying to put out daily fires without realizing you weren't called to be the world's firefighter. Wisdom lies in discerning which battles are yours and which belong to God. Even those strong in faith have fallen into this trap. Some have faced public criticism and felt the urge to defend themselves, but heard clearly, "Stay silent, I will take care of it." And indeed, over time, those who spoke against them faded away, while their mission grew stronger. This proves that when God steps in, the victory is far more complete than any human argument. Those who learn this lesson realize that not every comment needs a response, nor every provocation deserves attention. True strength isn't in winning arguments, but in preserving inner peace. This is the secret that sets us free, not fighting battles we weren't called to fight. And when this maturity is reached, even the most painful problems are seen in a new light, like families facing crises at home. Few pains compare to watching a child lost in wrong choices. Many parents try to control, impose rules, or lecture, only to find that the tighter they grip, the further their child's heart drifts. This is where mature faith steps in, the decision to surrender to God what exceeds our capacity. It's not giving up, it's trusting in the one who can reach where no one else can. There's a story of someone who went through exactly this. Their son fell into drugs and distanced himself from the family. For years, the parents tried every strategy, to no avail, until they chose to stop fighting alone and trust. They kept praying, but let God act. The result came in due time. The young man returned home, rediscovered faith, and restored his relationship with his parents. This experience shows that even in the most desperate moments, hope doesn't have to die. The chosen one understands that some battles are won not with force, but with perseverance in prayer. It's letting go of the urgency to control and resting in divine care. And when this happens, the most unlikely stories turn into testimonies of victory, inspiring even greater trust in God's care. How many times have you caught yourself wasting energy on situations that, in the end, changed nothing? Small arguments, excessive worries, or even useless comparisons on social media steal peace and weigh down the mind. It's like trying to pull every weed from the garden while forgetting to water the flowers. When focus is lost, life becomes a tiring race after things that bear no fruit. These weeds are subtle traps that drain our best qualities, our creativity, hope, and joy. While we're distracted by secondary problems, we neglect what truly builds us up. It's like a student who spends hours arguing with peers but doesn't open the book that could change their life. The secret is choosing battles that truly matter and leaving the rest in God's hands. This might mean ignoring provocations, not responding to messages that only bring confusion, or simply turning away from unnecessary comparisons. Instead of complaining about every obstacle, the person who trusts cultivates gratitude. In practice, they might write down 3 reasons they feel blessed each day. This simple exercise redirects the mind to what strengthens, not what wears it down. Those who learn not to waste energy on distractions discover a lighter life, where each step is more intentional. Peace replaces haste, and trust overcomes anxiety. This is the path that prepares the heart to realize that what God has in store doesn't depend on present distractions, but on a greater destiny already written. There's something grand in the fact that no obstacle can nullify what God has prepared. The weeds may be present, but they have no power to stop the harvest. When someone grasps this, they begin to live with hope, even when circumstances seem contrary. The promise isn't just survival, but abundance, freedom, healing, and purpose fulfilled. The destiny God has prepared is greater than any human plan. There may be delays, criticisms, or losses along the way, but nothing can thwart the divine plan. It's like the farmer who, despite pests, knows the harvest season will come. The chosen one must remember, it's not about relying on their own strength, but trusting in the faithfulness of the one who promised. This creates a different posture toward life. Instead of lamenting what went wrong, the person begins to celebrate what's yet to come. It's not empty optimism, but a living faith that believes in a better future. A good exercise is to write down goals, present them in prayer, and then let them go, trusting the right time will come. This practice strengthens hope and opens space for divine surprises. In the end, the promise isn't just about individual blessings, but a destiny that honors the faith of those who remain steadfast. Abundance isn't only material, it's inner peace, restored relationships, and fulfilled purpose. This is the certainty that by letting go and letting God act, life aligns with the perfect plan, where nothing and no one can prevent the fulfillment of what has already been prepared.